In a moment that defied precedent and shattered expectations, Kim Seokjin, known globally as Jin of BTS, stood alone on an official stage and did something no one had anticipated. It was not a performance, not a speech, not a promotional gesture. It was a deliberate, emotionally charged act that instantly became the focal point of global media attention. What exactly did Jin do that left fans breathless, stunned, and questioning everything they thought they knew about him? Was it a spontaneous eruption of emotion, or a meticulously calculated move with deeper implications? And why now? Why at this particular moment in his career? The incident occurred during an official BTS-affiliated event, one that was expected to follow the usual protocol of polished appearances and carefully curated interactions. Jin, freshly returned from military service, was anticipated to resume his public role with the same grace and restraint that had long defined his image. Yet, what unfolded on stage was neither restrained nor conventional. In front of thousands of attendees and millions watching online, Jin broke formation, figuratively and literally. He stepped forward, paused, and initiated a gesture that no member of BTS had ever dared to perform in such a formal setting. It was not rehearsed. It was not approved. It was, by all indications, a personal decision made in real time. The gesture itself was deceptively simple. Jin extended his arms and embraced a fan. But this was no ordinary hug. It was prolonged, sincere, and visibly emotional. The fan, selected through a lottery system, stood frozen as Jin held her with a gravity that transcended the moment. Cameras captured the intensity in his eyes, the tremble in his hands, and the silence that fell over the crowd. This was not a fan service stunt. It was a statement. But what was Jin trying to say? Speculation erupted instantly. Was this Jin's way of expressing gratitude after his military hiatus? Was he signaling a shift in how idols engage with their audience? Or was it a subtle protest against the rigid boundaries that often separate artists from their supporters? The timing was critical. Jin had just completed his mandatory service, a period often associated with reflection, transformation, and recalibration. Could this act be the first glimpse into a new era of his public persona? Observers noted that Jin's demeanor throughout the event was markedly different. He appeared more grounded, more assertive, and less concerned with the optics that typically dominate K-pop events. His interactions with fans were direct, unfiltered, and emotionally resonant. At one point, he addressed the crowd with a voice that trembled, not from nerves, but from conviction. He spoke not as a global superstar, but as a man who had endured, evolved, and returned with a message. The implications of Jin's action reverberated far beyond the venue. Within hours, social media platforms were flooded with reactions ranging from admiration to confusion. Some fans praised his courage, calling it a long-overdue humanization of the idol-fan dynamic. Others questioned the appropriateness of such intimacy in a formal setting. Media outlets scrambled to interpret the gesture, with headlines oscillating between Jin's emotional breakthrough and unprecedented fan engagement sparks debate. What added to the intrigue was the reaction, or lack thereof, from the other BTS members. Those present at the event maintained a composed silence, their expressions unreadable. Were they surprised? Supportive? Concerned? The absence of immediate commentary only deepened the mystery. It was as if Jin had drawn a line in the sand, and the rest of BTS was still deciding whether to cross it. Industry insiders began to speculate whether Jin's gesture was a precursor to a broader shift in BTS's public strategy. Could this be the beginning of a more transparent, emotionally open phase in their careers? Or was Jin acting independently, driven by personal convictions that may or may not align with the group's collective vision? The lack of official statements only fueled the fire. Analysts pointed to Jin's recent solo activities, noting a pattern of increasingly bold choices, from lyrical content to visual aesthetics, that suggested a man ready to redefine his boundaries. The emotional weight of the moment was not lost on ARMY, BTS's fiercely loyal fanbase. Many expressed pride, citing Jin's act as a testament to his authenticity and growth. Others admitted to feeling unsettled, unsure of how to interpret the breach of protocol. Was this vulnerability, rebellion, or something else entirely? The ambiguity was both captivating and disorienting. Adding another layer to the narrative were the rumors that had circulated in the weeks leading up to the event. Whispers of internal disagreements, creative tensions, and strategic pivots had already put fans on edge. Jin's unexpected gesture seemed to confirm that something was indeed shifting behind the scenes. But without confirmation, all that remained were questions, urgent, emotional, and unresolved. The global media response was swift and intense. Outlets from Seoul to New York dissected the moment frame by frame, analyzing Jin's body language, the fans' reaction, and the crowd's stunned silence. Commentators debated the cultural implications, the potential risks, and the symbolic weight of the gesture. Was Jin challenging the norms of idol culture? Was he advocating for a more humane, less commodified relationship between artists and fans? Or was this simply a man acting on impulse, driven by emotion and unburdened by consequence? What cannot be denied is the impact. Jin's action has already altered the discourse surrounding K-pop idols and their public conduct. It has forced fans, media, and industry stakeholders to confront uncomfortable questions about authenticity, boundaries, and the evolving nature of celebrity. It has also positioned Jin as a figure of emotional leadership, someone willing to risk criticism in pursuit of connection. As the dust begins to settle, one question looms larger than the rest. What comes next? Will Jin continue down this path of emotional transparency, or will he retreat under the weight of scrutiny? Will BTS embrace this new paradigm, or will they reaffirm the boundaries that have long defined their brand? And most importantly, how will ARMY respond if this moment marks the beginning of a more unpredictable, emotionally raw chapter in BTS's journey? For now, Jin remains silent. His gesture speaks louder than any statement could. It was a moment of vulnerability, courage, and defiance. It was a reminder that behind the polished performances and curated personas lies a human being, complex, evolving, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. Whether this act was spontaneous or strategic, it has already become a defining moment in Jin's career. And as the world watches, one thing is certain: BTS will never be the same again. And yet, the silence from Jin following the incident has only intensified the emotional weight of the moment. No captions, no interviews, no social media posts, just the lingering image of a man who chose vulnerability over protocol. This absence of clarification has left fans suspended between admiration and uncertainty. Was this a one-time act of defiance,